Well, it's not a brand new asymmetrical Vanguard, but I will say this. I mean, one of the great things about the Vanguard is as long as you got one engine, you can still get home. Now, you might be thinking, oh, wow, here we go. Minion's got an exciting story to tell us. You know, he was running from the law. People were shooting at him, but he managed to get away, but he lost half his ship, blah, 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 blah. No. Server desync. Server desync. And, you know, when I made that video a little while ago, when I talked about get rid of RCorp and get rid of, I was going to call it MicroAge, but get rid of Microtech. You know, just get rid of them, because obviously this is a little, you know, this is leaning a little too heavily on the game's resources. A lot of people surprisingly agreed with that, and there were some people who didn't. But one of the reasons why I advocated for that, and yeah, you know, to a certain degree, you're having fun with the topic and you're kind of playing into it a little bit. But also, on a more serious note, desync impacts players in a lot more of an insidious way than they understand. And when I say it like that, it's not to say that, you know, CIG is trying to slip one past you, blah, blah, blah. We gotta teach them a lesson. No, it's nothing to do with that, but it impacts the game in a very insidious way that a lot of people don't really fully appreciate. To a certain degree, they've kind of learned to build their ships around desync, like use fixed weapons on your Gladius, and that helps, you know, with desync, and, you know, so on and so forth. You might hear some advice like that from time to time, but one of the big problems that a lot of people don't realize is that there is a distinct disconnection between what you're seeing client side and what's happening server side. You might try to land your ship at a landing site, and you might think, oh my God, this Caterpillar handles so horribly. How can I not land in Lorville? It's so impossible. But it may not be you. It may not be the ship. It might just be that your control inputs are being kind of packaged up and held back, and then all of a sudden they're all going in at once, or the server is only acknowledging your control inputs from time to time. You experience it every time you walk through a door in Star Citizen. You know, when you walk up to a door and then you've got to wait like half a beat for the server to go like, oh yeah, someone's standing in front of the door, and the door opens. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to open as you get there. So it's supposed to open up as you get through. Like one of the reasons when we were talking about the Mercury Star Runner, and I was talking, this thing is very doorsy because you have to walk through and walk up to every door and wait for them to like open up for you. Whereas they should be opening up as you arrive, right? To make you capable of just kind of flowing through that environment. Now, someone at CIG might say, well, you know, once it's fixed, then all that's going to work as intended, so that's not really an issue. But there are other elements to that. I'm going to show you some footage, you know, when I was testing an Arena Commander to replicate what happened in the Persistent Universe, and I was shocked to see that even in Arena Commander, this issue pops up. So this is essentially single-player Arena Commander. So to my knowledge, this is hosted locally. You know, I'm not playing on the server. This isn't a multiplayer game. This is a single-player game. And I'm using the exact same Vanguard setup that I'm using in the Persistent Universe because I have an overabundance of wreck. And, you know, one of the good things about this Vanguard setup is at a fairly long range, especially if the fighter is not evading, you can do some pretty serious damage very quickly. Now I'm about to engage another fighter, a Buccaneer. Look at my shields up in the upper left. Look at the status of my ship, right? I think we can all agree that I am in a good place, that I am in a fairly strong position to basically have a showdown with this Buccaneer. So here we are, we're shooting at him, we're hitting him, boop, gone. And then boop, gone again. He one-shot me. He used a Panther repeater and he one-shot me. Let's watch this again in slow motion because this is amazing. Here I am, I'm now engaging the target at maximum range. Now he's going to have me in range thanks to that Panther, repeater. He's going to have me in range fairly quickly as well. We are closing head on. But there you go. My shots are starting to register. He explodes. Now watch his shot come in. Gone. To me, the only thing that actually makes sense here is that while I was shooting him, he was shooting me, but the game wasn't feeding me that information. It wasn't showing me that information, or that information was bottled up somewhere. Maybe there is an issue client side. Maybe there are some issues with the Vanguard shields currently. That's entirely possible, but when you see this breakdown here, and I freeze framed it, he is using a Panther repeater. I mean, that what happens there shouldn't really happen. Now, back to the persistent universe. We're now seeing, watch the upper left. Look at the condition of my ship. This is, pretty much 2/3 through the mission. And all of a sudden, an entire, my shields are still up, but an entire wing and engine gets literally annihilated. And it's only in slow motion that you can see 2 shots come in and zap. I'm apparently getting hit, but I'm not seeing it. And this is the insidious side of DSUNK. And this is kind of why, I'm kind of serious when I say get rid of Microtech and get rid of RCorp. We know you can do it. You probably have a few things there that you want to do over again. We're going to understand, because one of the more difficult things to kind of explain to people when you're talking about Star Citizen is that when you're going out there and you're seeing like a YouTube video of somebody fighting in a ship and they're saying, oh, this is really great, or that's really great, or maybe you've gotten rid of a ship that you were like, man, this thing just doesn't work. It doesn't want to work with me. It's entirely possible that, the problem could be user error, entirely possible, but it's also entirely possible that the way the information was being relayed back to you as the client was not accurate to what was happening on the server. And so you were getting basically outdated, or, just you were being denied certain feedback and information while you were engaged in combat or trading or mining or whatever. It's a lot of people make some pretty serious decisions when it comes to Star Citizen. These ships are not cheap. And it's a very difficult thing to kind of sit there and say, hey, you know what? I recommend this ship. I recommend that ship. I really like this ship. I really like that ship. I will talk about ships and I go, I think that ship is strong. I think that ship is going to be good. But at the same time, even when you're flying that ship, even when that ship makes it into the game, you do really have to question whether or not the performance that you're seeing client side is actually what is happening. Because when desync gets fixed, fingers crossed, we might have a few ships out there that people think are really good are really not all that good. And some of the ships that people think are really terrible are actually really amazing. And people may have sold ships or bought different ships based on an imperfect representation of how they are going to perform in the persistent universe, and not because of anything other than just server desync. They were just, it's like planting seeds in unfertile soil. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind, that, when people start talking about stuff like this and they're saying like, we don't really need, what is it, Orison or whatever on Crusader. Yeah, it would be nice to see, and I'm sure it would look pretty, but I think what we need is a smoother game.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.